We remember this differently. We were on a coach on our way from Marrakesh to Ouarzazate through the high Atlas Mountains because I promised Amy that she would see some camels, the Sahara Desert, and that we would spend a night in a Bedouin tent sheltered by the dunes. The curtain on my side wouldn't stay closed, and Amy sat with her forehead against the glass looking out at the mountains. I was reading her stories from 1001 Nights, and I had the book on my lap. We were in the habit of not speaking, and we were probably only sitting side by side because the bus was so full, and because the drive made her nervous. But we weren't talking. We decided day by day what we wanted to do, and at night I read the stories out loud. I remember the sun coming through the window. I remember the sun on her face, on her hair. I remember the turns being so tight that we were thrown together shoulder to shoulder. I remember there being a fuss at the back of the coach because a taxi, was trying to overtake us. I'm not sure if there was some kind of competition going on between the coach driver and the taxi driver, but there wasn't any place for the taxi to overtake. It happened very quickly. We approached a corner, and the taxi attempted to overtake. The coach was wheeling slowly around the corner and stopped hard because another bus was coming from the other direction. The taxi driver couldn't see the oncoming bus and made a break to overtake. People on the coach started getting to their feet. I don't think Amy was paying attention. It wasn't what you'd expect. I didn't see it happen. The taxi went over the edge without any sound. People at the front of the coach shouted, in a strange noise, something like a collective gasp. But I could remember how quiet it was. It just went over the edge. We had to get off the bus. I sat with Amy, and to distract her I read the story from the 788th night, which involves a sultan, a just and honourable man who has brought peace and tranquility to his kingdom after the violence of his father's reign. The sultan decides to interview each of his staff, the dignitaries and advisors, and discover for himself if they are deserving. He meets with everyone. Amy didn't like the story, didn't care for it at all. And while I read, she looked out across the road at the air, the drop, the people gathered at the edge, everyone looking down, just these figures, and the empty, blue sky. I don't think I ever knew what she was thinking. But when she stood up, I remember suddenly being very afraid. I had this idea that she might start running, that she might suddenly just start up and run. Instead, she just stood there, hands at her side, leaning forward and looking out, right at that hollow blue, at nothing right in front of us. She remembers telling me that it was over, and this is how she remembers it. We don't disagree on the moment itself, but I don't remember her saying anything. The next day she returned to Marrakesh alone. I know all of the reasons why, although we never listed them, but I don't know the order I should put them in, just as I don't know why that was the moment it ended. But it ended.